We are going live. All right, we are live. This is the first meeting of 2016 for the GDG Triangle. I'm Luke Derry. I'm one of the organizers. My co-organizer, Eric Richardson, is not here tonight, but may make an appearance, I guess. But we opened it up for lightning talks. It doesn't look like anyone's going to give one, but we can definitely do some talks about what's new going on with Google, and we'll talk about some of the upcoming plans for meetings and events that we've got going on for the group. With us tonight, if you guys want to introduce yourselves and say what you do. And
I'm Jared, and I'm mostly a front-end developer at Novelist. So sort of right now we're working on basically building an in-browser editor that operates similar to like Microsoft Publisher or something. So.
And I'm Evan Haley. I am an Android software engineer at WillowTree in Durham, and we are a client services company that does mobile development and some mobile strategy with bigger companies and brands.
Very cool. I'll open it up. Do you guys know of any job opportunities, either at your companies or elsewhere, that for recorded purposes that you could share?
So for WillowTree, I can share that we're looking for pretty much mobile jobs. So if you have experience with iOS or Android, we are very aggressively hiring iOS and Android developers, as well as web developers, and we even have internships in all of these places with summertime coming up.
Very cool.
So also you can go to WillowTree or WillowTreeApps.com, and there should be a career link with all the links to the descriptions I just announced.
Jared, I'm trying to remember, does Novelist have any open job recs right now?
I know EBSCO does. If like EBSCO, they're expanding the office space down here, and they're hoping to have that done in I think a few months. But they already have some recs out for some senior software engineers, and I think they were looking for a manager, but they may have already found that. I'm not sure. But yeah, I know they had some senior software engineers. I'm not sure what they were looking for yet. There'd been talk of Python and Java, or maybe Node on the back end or something else. So they were going back and forth.
Yeah, I think last I heard it was kind of, I think it's up in the air right now, but there's probably some favorites that people have. I think there are also, so EBSCO, if you go to ebsco.com, ebsco.com, and look in careers, I believe there are at least one or two front-end software, like software engineering positions open that are either Ipswich, Massachusetts, or remote, which I think favoring Durham, the Durham area. I'm trying to think of if I've seen any other ones that have come across. I feel like some of the other meetup groups have posted various positions also, but all right. So let's see, what's new in the Google sphere? You guys have anything that's caught your eyes over the last, I guess, month probably, or anything interesting to share with new developments? Maybe Evan, is there anything Android-wise that's come in that's been something big?
So one thing we've been hearing about, I guess, from various tech sites are the Android in VR that's coming. Apparently, well, that is rumored to come at Google I/O in May.
Oh yeah.
So that's like the next, if that is coming, that will be the next big thing from an Android standpoint. That's going to come out for developers to use or to build apps and experiences on, and then also for consumers to use apps and all that great stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so is it my understanding, the way I see the press referring to it, it's like Cardboard 2.0, but it's not. It won't be Cardboard. It'll be VR.
Yeah, so it'll be more. It'll be, I guess, a higher quality headset with, I guess, Android software to go along with it versus having to use your phone that runs Android on a phone, but then you can start the Cardboard app. So I would imagine the experience will be a lot more straightforward to use
Right.
than
Yeah.
than putting your phone into a Cardboard and having to switch to the actual Cardboard app.
Yeah.
So, but that should be fun. I am really looking forward to that because I'm kind of interested in VR, but I want to see where they take it. One thing that surprised me is how much the Cardboard has taken off, apparently.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I think the price made it really accessible, and then people kind of ran with it.
Right.
The other thing I think that I was anticipating, like VR being kind of the hot thing now, is I know Project Tango. There are some consumer or like third-party Tango devices that will be coming. I don't know if it'll be around I/O or if it'll be later in the year, but I want to say they partnered with who was it? Lenovo maybe.
Yeah, I think it was Lenovo.
So that'll be an interesting thing. Evan, have you done any Tango stuff?
I haven't done any Tango stuff. I haven't even seen or used any Tango hardware.
Oh, okay. I've been thinking the group might need to have a Tango device to play with. Like, we had our Dev Fest and we got to have a couple for that, and
yeah,
I think people had a lot of fun.
That was fun. Not on necessarily a good note, but also a good note since Google Photos has been doing so well. I don't know if you saw they're shutting down Picasa.
Yeah.
Now, for most people that doesn't matter. I mean, they haven't updated it in ages, but it was still what I used on my Windows desktop at least.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, well, I every once in a while I would try to go back to it, and I think I must have clicked something that said, take me to Photos instead of Picasa if I type it in, something like that.
Yeah. So, for all those old photo management stuff, it's hard to find a desktop one, but if you want it, you're going to have to get it before March 16th, I think, or something like that when they sunset it. So
I think that you don't really lose any photos or anything. It's really just losing I think some of the like tagging and things like that. So it's not a big loss, I guess, overall.
No. Yeah, the new software, I mean, Google Photos has been doing so well that they're able to move off it, I guess.
Hey, Thomas.
All right.
Thomas, can you hear us?
Yeah, another piece of news.
Sorry about that. Okay, go ahead, Jared. Sorry.
Man. Hangouts just keeps crashing.
This is a good test to know for future reference if it's the connection or not.
Yeah.
Are other people crashing, or is it just me?
So I actually jumped off. I signed in on my tablet just to check in if anybody was here. But now I switched to my laptop, but it did not crash for me.
Okay, I was gonna say I thought maybe it had.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think mine's just, I don't know, there's something going wrong on my Mac in Chrome or something, because last time it crashed, which is very rare for Chrome, like 4 tabs crashed all at the exact same time. I was like, what? What just happened? I don't think I've ever seen that on Chrome, actually.
No, yeah. Jared, what were you were sharing something.
Yeah, I haven't gone through it, but I did bookmark it because it looked really interesting. But Google open source, didn't really open source. They've been working with Udacity on different courses over time, and they recently released another one on, I think it was machine learning or natural language processing or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
a lot of hype.
when we talk about upcoming events, I think we'll go take a look at some of the Udacity courses actually. So that's a good note to make on the doc. Yeah, all of the, just so everyone is aware ahead of time before we go look at it, all of the Google courses are technically they're free. The things that they call nano degrees, the courses that make up those nano degrees are all free. If you do the nano degree, you end up with some certification, and I believe you get like a mentor, essentially the equivalent of what we will be doing with like our Android Study Jam.
Right.
But I would recommend people go look at the courses just to see if there's anything of interest there, because I think they're pretty well put together for the most part.
Machine learning course looked really interesting. I haven't seen, I guess, the specifics on it, but that seems pretty interesting, especially with all the kind of advances they made in AI, like the past few weeks. Like, you guys have seen the AlphaGo DeepMind project.
Yeah, that was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. They said, at first I was really blown away from that news. That was some big news.
Yeah.
Some other people did say that there was a fair bit of seeding of it with correct information, because initially the first news coming out was that it all just learned it completely on its own. But
Yeah.
even then, it's still pretty impressive to be able to beat a good Go player.
And I think the match has been set to play, I guess, one of the top Go players in the world, and they're going to stream that on YouTube.
Yeah, that should be an interesting. I don't know how long the matches have been. Like, I don't know how long it takes, but it'd be an interesting thing to watch.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever played Go?
Just recreationally, like.
Yes, the same here.
I don't think like usually if I up the skill level, I always lose.
Yeah, same here.
Nice.
Well, I'll ask one more time, Thomas. I saw you join. Your mic appears to be off, but if you wanted to introduce yourself, or if you have any job postings that you're aware of, we've kind of gone through that. Or if you have any Google developer related news that might be of interest to people, we're sharing that too. Well, so let me share my screen here if I can. There we go. So I wanted to share. Let's see, present to everyone. There we go. So upcoming events for this group specifically, we will. I think Eric and I talked about our regular meeting schedule, and it seems to work well for us. The regular schedule would be every third Tuesday of the month. We will meet, have at least that meeting every month, in combination with, as mentioned on here, the Android Study Jams or Women Tech Maker event that's coming up. Those will kind of be announced, but those will be longer term events that have some amount of either daily or weekly time span, and that's in addition. And I'll put it on here. Just I think there's a cloud. Let's see if I can figure this out here. Trying to remember what the conference name is called. Next, that's what it is. GCP Next is a conference that's coming up in March, and we may do an event surrounding that, either like a keynote watching or like time shifted the regular sessions. I think they're going to record them, but they're not going to be available live. They're going to be available like after the fact. So we may do something surrounding that. Let me put that in the notes here.
Is this the first year they're having GCP Next?
So they've done similar, like they did cloud platform. I'm trying to think when it was last year. I guess it was around the same time, where it was like just a conference about the cloud platform. Where the thing I remember from it was they talked about there's some computer animation house that was using their virtual machines to spin up processing for rendering engine, and it was like, yeah, this used to take us, and I'll exaggerate, but like 2 months to render, and now it takes us 10 hours or
Right.
something like that. But it was a pretty impressive, it was, and this goes hand in hand with a lot of the containerization, Kubernetes and just the cloud platform. They're working hand in hand with a lot of the open source community. Red Hat and Docker both have partnered with Google, or have, Google has hooks for Docker containers now, I think, in cloud platform. It's not something that like I work, wholeheartedly in, but it's something I'm aware of, and it's a pretty cool. Just the cloud in general is cool, but the cloud platform that Google's kind of running has some cool things going on. One of the things, I guess, since we're on that topic, and let's see, put this here, cloud functions. So AWS, I believe, released Lambda, or something. I think it's called Lambda, and it's for like one-off functions that you want to run. And Google, I'll see if I can find the announcement here. Google quietly released an equivalent of that. Let's go back. Something, I'm sure this will, yeah.
Oh, there we go.
So they call it Cloud Functions. Okay. It's in alpha though, so I think you have to fill out a form to get on a list, and then, but it's an equivalent of the Amazon offering, I guess. So if you're doing Amazon stuff, there's at least equivalent functions across Google's offering. Pricing, I think last year at the conference that they did, they announced pricing changes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was in fall that they did that. So to make cloud platform a little more competitive with Amazon, and I think pricing in certain instances is usually cheaper than Amazon's. So I've been meaning to spin up like the lowest tier of container to see how, like, if I can run random things on it, but haven't gotten quite there yet. Let's see, what else did I list in here? I said, so Women Tech Makers, I believe in March is, I may have to check my email for that one, but there's like Women in Technology Month, and then they will do, there's like a single day where they celebrate women tech makers. We don't currently have a women tech maker lead. I'm still reaching out to some females to see if they would be interested in, and it's a pretty low involvement job as far as organizing those things. It's really just, working with the organizers of the main group to coordinate targeted events where female developers would be interested in them, whether it's not exclusive of male developers, but it's something where we want to try to bring more females into the group. Let's see, I was going to look at Techmakers. Android study jams. I think so. Coming up at some point, I think Eric and I think Evan, had you shown the interest in doing one, like
Yeah,
helping?
yeah. So Eric asked me about it, and I think we wanted to do it again this year.
Okay. Yeah, so the program this year is a little different than last year. It's targeted more towards um, beginners, like learning Android for the first time,
Right.
maybe who haven't had Java experience. So it's going to be, um, I think, for people like me, where I was kind of struggling with the Android Study Jam, like the content last year, where I'm not a Java developer and I'm not, in that all the time. It was hard to spin up on some of the coursework like later on. So I think this will be. I may go back and do this one to kind of get my Java and Android development chops a little better.
Cool. Yeah, I know last year it was a good course, but it got pretty very technical, like towards the middle, especially when they started talking about all the database stuff.
Yeah.
That's
I think I made it through or like up to lesson 4, and then I kind of stagnated, and I was like, I'm not real sure how to do all this stuff.
Yeah, and that's what
Right.
I also saw in the I guess the class or the facilitation session every Thursday was a lot of questions around that session
Yeah.
4A and 4B.
So I think they've taken, like, that was kind of the first run of things. They've taken advice from people that participated, and I think the Udacity courses, which maybe we can go look at some of those and um, just see. Let me make sure no one's posted anything on
I
here.
might be interested in running through that again. It's been a while since I've done native development, and could be good. Especially
Yeah,
when it's been a while, as I really haven't even done much with Android Studio. I was pre when they were just running stuff in Eclipse.
yeah. I mean, and there's so many. Like Android Studio 2 is out now, I believe, and
Mm-hmm.
um, I mean, I feel like the Udacity courses have kind of been like they've dumped a lot of coursework out there for people who are interested in this stuff. So these are the nano degrees. Um, let's see. So you can pursue these nano degrees, and like I said, you get some added benefit. But if you're interested in one, so like let's take the where is the Android developer? So if you take the core, like you look at the course, um, I believe it will show you somewhere here. Will show you the courses. Yeah, so you can actually you could go to this page, um, and we can just do this. But and then like here's the Android Fundamentals course, and you just click Start Free Course. So it's a really easy way to just get going and kind of get your feet wet if you need to. So they have senior web developer, the other one I was looking at, tech entrepreneur. What was the other one? Front end web developer too. So those are kind of the bread and butter. Like those will give you like legitimate experience with whatever it is. Um, I think they are working on other nano degree programs, so there will probably be more courses that come as time goes by. Um, so if you're not interested in the nano degree program, just you can go in here and see what the coursework is, or you can just look at the catalog and see if there's anything interesting. I believe if you go udacity.com/Google, yeah, so these are all the free Google courses, and any that Google puts out will be free individually, but as part of the nano degree program, you have to pay. Oh, I know the other thing I was going to share. So Dart has released And I don't know if they link to it on here. It doesn't appear to be linked on here, but let me go to Google Plus here. So Seth Ladd had made a mention of this at some point, and I think I linked to this at some point, but this is a write one code base, compile to native app option with Dart, and so I tried it. It runs great on an Android device as far as like the getting started goes. I'd be interested to see more people try it to see what they think. I know it's kind of supposed to be positioned as a alternative to something like React Native, except my understanding is the difference is React Native you learn the language and then write two code bases for your native apps. This would be you write one code base and compile to native across device, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. I got a pretty nice. I think that's an accurate description of React Native.
Okay, I haven't really messed with React Native yet, so I'm taking that from probably things I've read.
To an extent, yeah, because I mean it compiles it down to native bits and pieces, right? But basically, you end up writing it as if it's HTML, or if you're familiar with anything, like Angular components or Polymer, custom elements or anything like that. Basically, you're just writing it in a markup language, and then that builds down into each platform. So some of that markup language, I think, is shared between platforms, but I don't know if all of it is.
And I'll make a plug, and it seems like every meeting I mention Dart just because it's like the redheaded stepchild of the Google developer platform that they've put out. But there are a lot of benefits. One of the first people that came to this group initially, Kevin Moore, he was like gung-ho Dart, and he gave a presentation on it, and then not too long after that, he started working at Google. So I'll just say there's benefit, and I think Seth Ladd so his most recent post was like, hey, come work with some great developers. So I'll put a plug in. It's an interesting language, and they're definitely doing some interesting things, especially with mobile. A while back, they did a proof of concept, I guess, to show 120 frames per second animation and things like that. So it's at least an interesting thing if you're wanting to dabble in a different language for whatever reason. Other than that, let's see. I'm trying to remember. It seems like there was a couple other things I was going to share. Oh, speaking of YouTube, I did want to share, and I've got a link, I think, in the notes. Let's do Flutter, Udacity courses. Okay. If you haven't looked at YouTube channels recently, so Google Developer, the channel is very active and has videos posted fairly regularly, kind of across the board about whatever they're working on. A lot of it's Android, but they'll do some other things too, as far as these are all the videos from the Internet of Things conference that they did. Trying to think if there was another one that was Tango related. So they split out though, because you'll see Android and kind of all the other stuff, but the Chrome developers have split out into a separate channel, because they have been producing videos, they've been doing a lot of them, There are Polymer. There's a lot of. They're trying to do more like web series. There's Polymer. There's Tooling. Adi Osmani and Matt something are doing Tooling. Jake Archibald and Paul are doing. They've been doing a series called HTTP 203, I think, is what theirs is called, and they are pretty funny if you're into British humor, especially. But anyway, so if you're like front end related, this is I would recommend subscribing just because you'll get notifications of them posting new videos. But the YouTube channel for developers is also like if you're Android developer or into anything besides Chrome, they're producing a lot of videos, so it's worth subscribing to. All right. Other than that, I'm trying to remember.
I'll mention that I've been working on an app, pretty geeky. I haven't made much progress yet because I've really only been able to work on it for a couple Saturday mornings, but an app for my pen and paper tabletop gaming group to track some of our stuff, and I've been building that with Firebase on the back end.
Nice.
Which is sort of interesting. So.
Oh yeah. So Jared, I think between you, like Eric also had mentioned, there seems to be some interest in Firebase. So if you want to work up like a talk to give, I think there'd definitely be people that would want to hear about it.
Yeah, as I get a little farther. Yeah, the best part was this last Saturday. Now I tend to be slow when I'm trying to learn something new. Don't just blaze through. But this last Saturday, I was able to get authentication working through Google. Just a couple hours of tinkering, reading, and learning.
They definitely make it real easy.
Yeah. So that was really nice to just be able to authenticate and link stuff to unique users just like that. So really cool.
Evan, have you done anything on the Android side with Firebase?
Not a lot, but I've been more interested in it, especially with parse going away.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's a sad time for people if they've been using it.
Yeah.
Not necessarily too sad if you've tried to use it and stopped.
Right. Because they have a pretty Firebase has a pretty generous free tier.
Yeah. I've put together a few different just spin up a quick app.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I have yet to hit any type of peak usage at all.
Nice.
Let's see. I'm going to double check my notes here and make sure I'm not missing anything. I know one that's coming out. So, put in a plug for, I think Google Ventures is putting out a book called Sprint, something like that, where it goes over the design sprint methodology that they use to take startups from idea to legitimate prototypes and things like that. All of the Google books that I've read have been pretty interesting. The ones that have been put out by Google people, I would recommend. If you have access to it, either at the library or something, but or pick up a copy. I'm trying to think. Since last time we met, there's been a lot of other stuff going on as far as Alphabet Google stuff. I haven't heard anything as far as how that will affect this group, if at all. I don't imagine it will, but and then Google Fiber. I get asked about Google Fiber all the time, but as of yet, anything you see on the internet's more information than I have. So, I don't know. I keep waiting to see. I haven't seen a Google Fiber truck at all, but I live in North Durham, so I'm probably not going to see one for years. But
I don't know what the news is on that, but I also heard that they were using subcontractors for a lot of their work.
Yeah.
So
Okay. I mean, the thing is, it's weird. I've seen a lot of fiber getting laid. So, but I know like the most recent one I saw was AT&T because when they capped it on the street, it had AT&T. But
I don't think that tells because
Yeah.
someone I can't remember where I was reading about it, but yeah, Google will use AT&T. They'll use so it's hard to tell, but they'll use anyone to install the fiber, and then you're not going to know it's Google Fiber until they go in and
okay.
wire it up and set it up.
It's,
Because I was hearing the same thing here, and there was one area that was pretty sure I read about this, thought they were a fiber hood or whatever, and one of the AT&T installers was like spreading a whole bunch of FUD saying, "Oh no, they backed out. They gave us the contract to this area. You're just going to have to sign up with AT&T."
Oh. I mean, like I just feel bad because I'm like, there's Time Warner Cable like fiber like right out here, but I can't get it to my house.
yeah.
It's right out in front of my neighborhood right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've been working on it for 6 months there, and so I keep reading on it, trying to figure out whose it is. And I know AT&T has worked on that fiber, and I know the Frontier has worked on that fiber.
Right.
There was a I know when I used to commute to Morrisville, there was a lot of activity from SNN, which was rumored to be a subcontractor for Google Fiber, and so they've been working up and down Chapel Hill Road, around Morrisville, Carpenter, and
Okay.
Airport
Yeah.
Boulevard a lot.
Yeah. See, I've heard. I actually heard somewhere that there's like a neighborhood or something in Morrisville that is like has Google Fiber, but essentially they haven't announced it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
I'm really excited for it because we did a meeting last year about fiber and how gigabit speed changes, like especially web development, but just internet communication in general. It opens up a lot of different possibilities as far as a developer is concerned. All right. Well, unless anyone else has other things to share, I think um, I will try to get the notes written up a little better, and
Okay.
we can call it a night.
And I'll send you a link to the careers page for Willow Tree.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I'll grab the one for EBSCO, and yeah, I guess anyone watching this after the fact, if you have jobs that you'd like me to share with other people, just shoot them to organizer at gdgtriangle.com.
All right. I got to go. This is my wife calling, so
All right.
timing.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye, Luke.
Bye.